and welcome to your messages for the week. Today is Sunday, the 2nd of June, 2024. So let's see what the messages are coming through for this week. I have just done, of course, the messages for the month of June. If you haven't already seen them, link in the description, video in the end screen. I called that Divine Action Born Out of Stillness and Reflection. And it became quite apparent that the first part of June is a good time for us to really step back and rest, retreat, relax, and reflect. And that by the second half of June, I don't know exact timings, but it was towards the end of the reading that the Page of Wands told us that we had divine action coming in, opportunities and offers to take passionate, bold, courageous action, something new, something different, something transformational. And that action is born out of the stillness and reflection from the beginning of the month. So you know how it works with tarot. If you don't take the guidance, you don't get the outcome. Okay, so the stillness and the reflection was really important. And usually I would just talk about stillness, but the fact that reflection was coming up so much made me think it had something to do with the inspiration I had also recently to add to my lessons in awakening. I'm up to number 22 now. And I added to the lessons in awakening with one I've called Doing the Turnaround on Your Judgments. And I just think that that's kind of what we're doing. That's what the reflection in the monthly reading, I think, was referring to, is reflect on when we're making a judgment on somebody else, an unfavorable judgment. Where is it within us? Because we know that everything outside of us is born out of what's within us. What, as in emotions, thoughts, beliefs, frequencies, the frequency of our emotions, the frequency of our thoughts, and the frequency of our beliefs. So, you know, looking within to see where you have that within you. Because when you make friends with that, then you no longer judge people unfavorably. And that's a more peaceful, compassionate place to be. So that was also mentioned, that it's much more peaceful and self-loving to yourself to love what's outside of you rather than have resistance to it or judgment to it. So yeah, so those two videos I think are really important. But I did want to know, I mean, obviously that was the message, those were the messages for the whole month of June. So I really did want to know, like, what's going on for this week. Can we have more specific guidance or messages for this week, which I'm assuming will be about stillness and reflection? But we will see. And the other quick thing I want to mention, of course, is my Tarot and Beyond. So let me know if you're interested in joining that. It is €12. It's every second Sunday of the month. That's what I've set it up for at the moment anyway. And the idea is that we connect on Zoom. So I send you the links, the Zoom link and the PayPal link. And we connect on Zoom. I do a reading for whoever's there. So, I mean, a group reading for whoever's there. So the right people come at the right time for the right reading. We know that, don't we? It's the same with these readings. If you're watching it, you're meant to be here. And then we'll take the wisdom and the spiritual lessons that come up in the cards and discuss how we can actually apply and integrate that wisdom and that knowledge and that understanding into everyday life, because so much stuff is we have it on a receptive level, and it's sometimes very difficult to actually integrate it and to see how we can apply these spiritual lessons to the nitty-gritty of everyday life with the duality, separation, and, you know, drama going on. So to actually, we can relate it to the collective or to whoever's in the group, their personal situation. So there's lots of opportunity. I'm hoping there'll be lots of opportunity for people sharing and for it to actually be a deep dive into some reflection for whoever's on the call. So yeah, more details on my website, link in the description. So let's have a look. What's happening this week? Any guidance, any heads up, anything that we can that can help us navigate what's going on. I'm actually getting that there's nothing else coming up. Look, I'm just shuffling and shuffling, and I'm really getting a that's it. And I've just turned over the one that did come up because it's only for this week, really. I think the whole theme of June is really apt. The one that did come up is the World card. So I actually find this really appropriate because it's a completion. The World is the very last major arcana card. The major arcana cards are the spiritual lessons. The world is your playground. What do they say? The world is your oyster and the universe is your playground. There's strength here because she has the fixed signs around her. I see it that she's holding the wand of, or wands of, the magician. And the magician, of course, is the alchemist, turning mud into gold, turning fear into love. And that's what we were just talking about with judgments. When you judge somebody, there's a contracting feeling inside of you. It's not a self-loving feeling, is it? Well, it's not a loving feeling towards what you're judging, but it's also not a loving feeling towards you. That's the whole point, right? Because there is only you, right? Shall I put a link in the description to that one as well? There is only you, and what we mean by that, of course, there's other people co-creating with you, they're all around, but there's only you creating your reality, and your reality is 100% dependent on you and your frequency, your thoughts, your perceptions, your beliefs, and your emotions. So that's when I say there is only you. So changing what's going on the inside. So that's why it's so important to love yourself, because when you love yourself, then you love the people outside of you, and the people outside of you love you, right? Which is a beautiful place to be. So when you're judging other people, of course, it's uncomfortable inside, because like hating other people is a really uncomfortable way to feel, isn't it? Resenting other people is not a nice way to feel either. Being jealous or envious of other people. I mean, these all happen, right? This is all part of the human experience. So, I mean, I'm not judging these experiences. All I'm saying is that when we judge other people, unfavorably, we are entangling with these lower frequencies. So we need to look at, where are we doing these things? You know, where are we? However you're judging somebody else, it's the phrase, I am not what you think I am, you are what you think I am. And I don't want to go on too much about that, because it's obviously part of the lesson, Lessons in Awakening number 22, which I did recently, and it's also come up in the month of June, which is why, of course, it's coming up again now, because this is the first week of June. But this card is telling me that there is a completion of the spiritual lesson. So it's beautiful. And this is such a positive card, because it tells us that we have completed a stage, a major stage of our spiritual journey, a major stage of our evolution. And I think it is this stage of realizing that the outside is dependent on the inside and not the other way round. I think we've got that. And so now this reflection that is coming up for this month is to really look within and see, when you're making unfavorable judgments about other people, where is that judgment in me? And it could be, this is a really important point, because I think this is one of the main reasons that people are in denial about the fact that everything starts within, is because they are still identifying themselves as being their human. And their human in this lifetime could possibly, I mean, despite having loads of flaws, I'm sure, but could quite possibly be a lovely person, especially if they're watching this video. But we haven't always been lovely. The past life healing work that I do has shown me personally on my journey, and everybody else that does it, is that we identify with being the victim in past lives. But the truth is, we've been the perpetrators as well. And very often when we've been the perpetrator in a past life, a perpetrator of adversity for other people, and a perpetrator of unconscious behavior, unpreferred behavior, unfavorable behavior, downright socially unacceptable behavior, however you want to view it. We've all been there, because that's how we've evolved and that's how we've learned. And when we bring that energy with our soul, because our body is a reflection of our soul, right? And the layers, you know, our emotional and mental energy body. but it's our soul that we want to shine through, right? In our through our human. So if there are energies and karma, because it's a lot about karma, of course. If you've been the perpetrator, then you're going to be the victim in another situation, whether it's in the same lifetime or another lifetime, and if you've been the victim, then you're going to be the perpetrator. So it's a lot of it is karma, and we've come here to clear all of that by not doing tit for tat or eye for an eye or whatever, by actually looking at the problem and not responding to the situation from the level of consciousness that it was created. That's what Albert Einstein taught us, wasn't it? That, well, it was done to me, so I'm going to do it to somebody else. I mean, that's a karmic thing, right? So the whole point of karma is that we can then reflect on how things have evolved and how we've created this karma, and we realize that we've got to raise our level of consciousness to above the frequency of the behavior that created the issues, and have a look at it from a higher level of consciousness, so that we can transmute the negative energy, density, beliefs, whatever it is, behavior, emotions, attached behavior, whatever it might be. I'm generalizing so much that it's difficult. That's why I'm saying it in so many different ways, because I'm just generalizing so much. But also I think I've been quite specific in that generalization, if that makes sense. So we do need to look at it from love, of course. So if we re-see it all from this place of love and acceptance and forgiveness and understanding, having completed all our spiritual lessons. So we've completed the spiritual lesson of forgiveness and awareness and acceptance and loving what is and all of that, and realizing that it boils down to loving ourselves, so that when we love other people, other co-creators, the rest of humanity in general, when we can love all of it wholeheartedly, then we've raised the whole lot to another octave. We've raised the whole collective to another way of being, which is how we're creating heaven on earth. So that's what this is. It's a completion. So I'm really excited, because I really think that this month is, well, this week of this month is the beginning of this reflection that's really going to make a big difference and really help us see that on a soul level we have agreed all of this, and that if we take away the judgment of what's right and what's wrong, right, then there's no need for forgiveness, and we can all just accept each other with the differences, and the less conscious people that are being the perpetrators of horrible things, shall we say, can learn, can see, but they'll see through example, not through force and being made to do something, because no one learns that way, being forced and made to do something. It just manifests more resentment, doesn't it? And more control, more manipulation. But when people can see through eyes of love that their behavior isn't conscious, and they want to change the way they behave because they've seen with their own eyes their own spiritual journey. So this is a completion of everything, not just your spiritual journey. This is a completion of all those people that you're judging unfavorably. They're also evolving. Obviously, when you stop judging them, they will evolve, because at the moment you're judging them, and you're not only keeping yourself in that frequency, but you're keeping them in that frequency. It's a bit like the self-fulfilling prophecy. If you label somebody as something negative, not only are you putting yourself in that negative judgment, but you're keeping them there. So we have to see the good, the blessing, and in a lot of things going on in the world, that's very hard to do, which is why I bring it back to a soul level every time. And I look at it, and the tarot show us that, don't they? With all the fives being adversity, and the understanding that we do co-create each other's adversity. We do it because we learn through suffering. We learn more readily through suffering. I mean, if you have an emotional trauma, you're going to grow. This is what Bernie Siegel said in his book, Love, Medicine and Miracles. If you have a trauma, emotional trauma, you're going to grow. Whether you grow spiritually or whether you grow a tumor, the choice is yours. So we're really wanting people to grow spiritually. We want to grow spiritually because we don't want to grow tumors, right? Because the tumors are all the trapped emotions that are growing inside of us. The resentment, the bitterness, the anxiety, the fear. It's all there. That's causing malfunction and disease in the cells of our body. But forgiveness, of course, releases resentment. Love releases fear. You know, so loving yourself and loving what is actually releases that density. And like I've already said, and like she's been saying, it takes us to another level. It takes us to a completely new octave. We're talking frequency, where that's how we're going to create heaven on earth. We can't create heaven on earth from the level of consciousness that has created the problem, because heaven on earth is actually a place born out of a level of consciousness. Our reality, all of our reality, your reality always has and always will be the physical reality born out of your level of consciousness. So we have to raise our level of consciousness if we are to create a world where there is no conflict, greed, you know, and unfavorable behavior, etc., etc. And if you believe that, if you think that's not going to happen because you're looking at the world today, it's like reflection, because you are the creator of your own reality, and there are people living in heaven on earth already. Trust me, there are people living in heaven on earth already. So if you don't feel like you're living in heaven on earth, this is the time to do that reflection. Rest, retreat, relax, get that stillness, reflect on your unfavorable judgments that you're making about people and situations. Where is it within? If you can't see it within, it could be a past life. So be open to that, because if you're open to seeing and understanding and learning from your past lives, then the universe, your higher self, will offer you more opportunities to grow, right, and to raise your level of consciousness through that channel. So opening up to past lives. If you meditate, you can just meditate and open up and say, I'm ready and willing to explore past lives that are affecting my present situation. You know, some loving ones might come up as well. We've all got plenty of those as well, but it's the ones that are keeping us in the density that we really need to reflect on. So yeah, that's wow. It's a lot of inner work and internal work and reflection going on this week, isn't there? So yeah, that should keep you busy. Thank you, World card. But it's such a positive card. It's the new earth. It's heaven on earth. It's a new way of doing things through the completion of spiritual lessons. So wow, wow, wow. It's so positive. It's so positive. So we just need to go through this reflection first and see what's going on, and to get out of denial and to understand that we are the creators of our own reality. I will put a link in the description to that one as well, because if you're struggling still to see how you are the creator, and of course, people often say, you know, how have children created such negative things? You know, well, they've all got past lives as well. And at a soul level, we have all agreed to play certain roles in each other's adversity for the purpose of helping them grow. We're doing it from a place of love. Even when we agree to be the perpetrator in somebody's life, we're doing it at a soul level from a place of love, because we know that they're going to grow from that suffering. So when we use our suffering as a tool for growth, that's the point, isn't it? Use your suffering as a tool for growth. Yeah. Not otherwise, you're going to just get rooted to the density. You're going to get stuck in the density. So yeah, use your suffering as a tool for growth. Yeah, I think that must be it for this week. That's what she says. That's what I'm saying. Thank you for getting to the end of the video. I love you all. Have a fantastic week, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.